What if I told you that the world is talking about the money left by Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church? When we investigate Pope Francis's surprising net wealth, you won't believe what we discover. This individual is well known for his humility. Stay closely to the very end because you won't want to miss the twist of where his riches might go. Let's get started. Pope Francis was a leader unlike any other. In Argentina, he was born Jorge Mario Bergoglio. At the age of 88, he passed away on April 21, 2025. After being elected Pope in 2013, he was the first Latin American Pope and the first Jesuit. The Catholic Church was transformed by his pragmatic attitude. He swapped in his lavish papal residences for a modest guest house, drove a modest car, and provided for the destitute himself. But the important question is, what was the real value of this humble man? You may think that a man who shunned luxury was poor, even though the statistics indicate otherwise. Keep watching to see why. Now let's talk about his financial value. Most sources estimate Pope Francis's net worth at around $16 million at the time of his death, though estimates vary. That's an incredible sum for someone who vowed to live in poverty, isn't it? This money wasn't in his bank account, which is the issue. As Pope, he had access to Vatican property, including official residences, 5 cars, including the famous Pope-mobile, and about $385,000 in a yearly discretionary fund. He also collected royalties from the books he wrote and donations related to his employment, but Francis didn't keep this money. He had a modest life and regularly gave to charitable organizations or the church. So where did this sum of $16 million come from? Rather than his personal finances, it has to do with the perks he receives from his profession. If you stay with me, it becomes even more fascinating. It is debatable whether Pope Francis ever took a salary. Popes receive about $32,000 a month, or nearly $400,000 a year, a good amount of money. But in keeping with his Jesuit roots, Francis turned it down. According to Vatican confirmation in 2001, Francis never accepted church monies, even before he was elected Pope. Instead, he donated his salary to foundations, trusted it to family members, or gave it to the poor. This man was so committed to his beliefs that he turned down millions of dollars during his 12-year pontificate. Despite not receiving compensation, his fortune grew as a result of the many resources that came with his job. Are you curious about his use of so much access? Keep watching because there is more to this story. Now let's debunk a myth. According to some reports, Pope Francis was worth a lot more, possibly as much as $80 million or even $100 million. Others say his net worth was barely $100 because he had nothing of his own. The truth lies in the middle. The astronomical estimates most likely mix together Francis's personal wealth with the Vatican's billion-dollar fortune. The assets related to his position are not included in the low estimates. The $16 million figure makes sense when you consider the cars, houses, and money he might have used but choose not to keep for himself. It's not as though he was buying boats or designer clothes because his priorities were helping people than accumulating fortune. And that's what makes his narrative so captivating. What will happen to this $16 million now that he's gone? The action gets really great at the conclusion, so you'll want to stay with it all the way through. Popes usually do not leave their own money to their family members. Most of their assets are given to the Vatican or church charities. But Francis was different. The existing quo could be appended by his final will and testament, which will soon be made public. He is renowned for his empathy for climate problems, refugees, and the poor. Vatican sources claim that Francis might have donated his wealth to Buenos Aires slums, refugee relief efforts, or climate justice projects. Imagine a pope's fortune funding clean water or schools for disadvantaged kids. Or maybe he let the Vatican foundations support his reforms. We get a big clue from his love for the poor, but we don't know until the College of Cardinals shares his will. Let's think about the wider picture. As the spiritual head of 1.3 billion Catholics, Pope Francis was a global figure who challenged the status quo. He fought against greedy millionaires, pushed for financial openness in the Vatican, and even helped to mend the U.S.-Cuban relationship. Rather than being used for his personal gain, his money was a tool for change. When you compare that to the luxury of previous popes, you can understand why Francis was outraged. His fortune may appear large, yet it is nothing compared to the billions the Vatican has. What matters is how he used his influence, and that is the real legacy he left behind. Thank you for sticking with me all the way through. If you were surprised by Pope Francis's wealth, or wondered where his money might be going, click like and share this video with your friends. To ensure you don't miss another story like this one, don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe. How should his fortune be handled, in your opinion? Comment in the space provided below. Let's carry on the conversation.